Grand Prix in Canada that weekend. But it's closer for him, and he didn't even really expect to get this far. He came out here for a wedding, and today he was free, didn't have to do anything with the family, so why not?
Yeah, he was at a wedding 24 hours ago. Now he's in the finals of a tournament. It doesn't get too much better than that.
Yeah, and weddings are fun. There's cake, there's good food, there's some dancing. You get to hang out, meet some new people. Always a great time. It kind of reminds me of a Magic tournament. Sometimes there's cake at a Magic tournament. There's always great people. There's fun, and every once in a while, someone dances. We saw Michael Bonde give thumbs up. He was really energetic. He was dancing around. You guys, didn't see it, but he carried the trophy around the entire day. He played out Legacy. He was just super excited every round. He got congratulated. He said, "Hey, congratulations." He's like, "Yeah, of course, man. I won. Thumbs up." Yeah. So I was really happy that these four guys, Joe Larson, Chris Larson, Thomas, and of course Michael, they all came together. They're traveling around the United States. They're playing the Star City circuit. They're playing a couple of Grand Prix. They're playing the Invitational, having a good time. It's the summer. Why not? You're only young once, they say, right?
I've heard someone say that before.
Yeah? All right. I thought I made that up.
So Brian Knopp, Jacob Wilson, you see them there. They're shuffling each other's decks. Here comes the present. Yep, there it is. One last cut. Here we go. The finals.
There's one card that really stands out in this mirror match, and I'm sure you noticed it as well. Zach, what do you think about the one main deck? Tell them.
Oh, I love it. It's the Sylvan Library. And any Legacy deck I play with green, I try and jam a Sylvan Library in there.
It's so good.
It's
like
so
a
powerful.
Sensei's Divining Top that you don't need any mana, and sometimes it's you could Mize pay for life. In this matchup, you're probably not you're not paying the 4 life multiple times, right. But I mean maybe once.
Yeah, maybe if you're really ahead, you pay the 4 life to seal the deal to make sure that the opponent doesn't get one extra turn.
Yep.
But here we go. We're off. Volcanic Island for Jacob. He won the play. No Ponder, no Delver. He's just going to say go, maybe sit on a Stifle or a Spell Pierce.
Yeah, of course, Jacob being the 4th seed, Brian being the 6th seed. So Brian wants to try his luck with a turn 1 Delver of Secrets. And I think Jacob might lead off with a Brainstorm here in response. Let's see if Brian has anything to stop this. What do you think?
Even if he does have something like a Daze to stop it, I'm not even sure I would. That Daze is really valuable. But yeah, you know what? Goes to show what I know. These guys are in the finals.
Yeah, I definitely really like Brian's play there. Delver is very important, and they both are definitely very experienced. So
okay, do you think the Brainstorm in response means that Jacob doesn't have a Lightning Bolt?
I'm not sure exactly, but I would have to say I agree with both plays so far.
Okay.
It's normally standard procedure just to try to dig deeper, get as much information as you could early as possible in the game, and that's what both players are doing. And you see Jacob here with a Ponder. He's really thinking about it. Lots of times you see a Ponder, sometimes you see 3 lands, sometimes you see 3 spells when really you want spells and lands. So it comes down to tough decisions.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson here, second cantrip of the game in Ponder. This is the first one that resolved. He's trying to build his graveyard up, but more importantly, he's trying to find a Lightning Bolt to kill that Delver.
Even more importantly, he's trying to figure out which way his sleeves are going on his deck. I don't know if you saw that, but that happens a lot. Sometimes you think so much with Ponder, you don't know, are my sleeves this way, are my sleeves that way? And he decides to keep, and he's going to put that Nimble Mongoose in hand, and he's going to crack that Misty Rainforest. Probably going to get that Tropical Island and going to just to play that Nimble Mongoose. He doesn't have to worry about a Daze. The only card he really has to worry about is Force of Will here.
That's right. He needs to get a threat on the board to match his opponent's threat.
Yeah.
If he's saying, Brian, you have a 3-power creature, I'm going to need a 3-power creature too then.
Yeah, and now look at this. Jacob was in the play, and now he has 2 lands to 0.
Right.
So a really big jump for Jacob. And there's a Brainstorm. That Delver Secret is going to flip.
Yeah, and that's the reason that I didn't really like the Daze. Since Brian was on the draw, now this happens. Now he's down 2 lands to 0 going into his turn just to fight over a Brainstorm that wasn't even full value.
Well, the thing is that Brian doesn't know how important that Brainstorm is. Jacob might have kept a really sketchy hand.
Right.
So, again, I have to go with Brian Knopp here. I agree with that Daze right there, and he's just going to continue on. He's going to hit for 3. He's going to play a Ponder. He's looking at the top 3, looking at his hand, Yeah, you could tell Brian really wants this. He's trying to figure out every scenario in his head. He doesn't want to make any hasty decisions. Lots of times you get to the finals and you're like, yeah, I got to the finals, it's good enough, but not for Jacob Wilson, not for Brian Knopp. Both players brought their Rug Delver deck here. They outlasted 303 other players. So I really want to just send a congratulations out to both of them. And to everybody watching, I just want to say thanks for sticking with us here. I know it's late for some of you guys, but this is going to be an exciting finals. We had a great top 8 match and a great top 4 match as well. So it looks like that Ponder is going to be a keep. Brian draws, and he is just going to pass the turn. He already played a land this turn in the form of Tropical Island because of that daze on turn 1.
Right. So Jacob Wilson gets to untap. He's going to start off with a Brainstorm using that Volcanic.
I like it. Jacob has big thoughts in his mind. He's like, I got 3 cards in my yard. I'm going to try to get the 7 before I attack with his no Mongoose.
That's right. I'm going to try and hit Threshold. I'm going to try and find a Wasteland, which he did. He's going to again knock his opponent to 0 lands.
Yeah.
And wow, look at that. He found a Lightning Bolt too.
That's really good. Lightning Bolt will take care of that insectile abomination.
That's close.
Yeah, pretty close. I always call it a Flip Delver. It'll take care of that Flip Delver next turn, unless Brian will have something. Maybe a Spell Pierce and Jacob doesn't have another land. We'll find out momentarily. There is a Scalding Tarn, and Brian attacks for 3.
Yep, knocking Jacob to 13. And let's see what he has planned for the Scalding Tarn here. Wow, sacrifice right now, and look at this. Stifle. Again, 0 lands for Brian Knopp.
Yeah, Jacob just seems to have all the answers. The way he plays out and maps out the turns in advance, this is something that reminds me of John Finkel. You know, I don't want to say Jacob is the next John Finkel, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is, or at least close. You know?
Yeah. So the Mongoose coming in for 3.
Yeah.
Threshold achieved. That's 7 cards.
And there's a Delver of Secrets. Wow, just, you know, and not to take anything away from Brian Knopp. Brian Knopp played all his cards, you know, to his fullest as well. It's just kind of unfortunate how this situation came about. You know, Brian is still at a pretty high life total, so maybe he could fight back. We'll find out in a second. He's going to try his luck with the Delver of Secrets. That's going to resolve. Jacob Wilson will crack that Scalding Tarn.
Yep, this is Upkeep Scalding Tarn, so he's going to get a look with the Delver, a fresh look. Delver on the stack, crack the Tarn, see what he turns up. Hopefully for him, it's a Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, Jacob fetches up a Tropical Island, which is untapped. Came into play kind of tapped.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny there.
Not a breeding pool.
All right, so it is not going to flip. It looked like maybe another Delver. Now, Brian decides to take this. You know, Brian does have an option to trade Delver on Delver. We don't know what's in Brian's hand. We don't know what his strategy is. You know, he might have a plan in mind.
Right.
He might say, the only way I'm going to win is if I get down a Goyf and I stop the Mongoose. So we'll see how things play out. There is another Delver from Jacob Wilson, and Brian flips his own Delver with that Force of Will. Pretty good flip.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now Jacob Wilson on a 4-turn clock. Brian Knopp has big plans. I think he plans to race this 5 power from Jacob Wilson with Force of Will backup now.
Yeah, and I mean, if he does draw a Goyf and Wilson again bricks off and doesn't flip his Delvers, that could definitely happen. So I'm excited to see, you know, how this game is going to play out.
Ponder for Brian Knopp, Force of Will for Brian Knopp, but really he's lacking in the board presence. He goes to 10 from this fetch land, now a 2-turn clock with that 5 power in play. He has to do something pretty soon or these creatures are going to gobble him up.
Alright, there's a Volcanic Island. Brian sacked his Misty Rainforest. Did you take a good look at what's in Brian's hand, or you didn't really make anything out?
Force of Will, Ponder. Not sure if he has any way to deal with these 2 Delvers, though. I didn't see a Lightning Bolt.
Okay.
Forked Bolt would be insane right now. Brian Knopp
really
plays
would.
one of those, and yeah, that's just a blowout. That's what he's going to go looking for with Ponder, I think, or Brainstorm.
Yeah, he'll be able to take out both of Jacob Wilson's Delver Seekers, unless, of course, Jacob has something like a Spell Pierce.
Oh, 2 mana. Okay.
Oh, it is a Goyf. Okay, Modern Master's Goyf. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jacob will check. Is it a flip? Is it a flip? Wow, no flip.
A little bit of slow roll there from Jacob Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, but it was a Goyf. Wow.
Good enough.
Yeah, really, really crazy game here. Every time you think somebody has a huge advantage, every time, you know, Brian Knopp had no lands this game.
Right, he had
for multiple turns.
0 lands for a good chunk of the game.
Oh,
Force of Will
wow.
comes
and
down.
Jacob's last card was Spell Pierce.
Huge.
That is just, just as I was saying, Brian Knopp might pull out of this, which he might still, but Jacob comes back with the answers. All right.
I do believe Brian Knopp 9 life now. He went to 10 from the fetch and 9 from the force.
Yeah, he should be at
That's
9.
3 Delver swings.
Yeah. Both players at 9. Jacob's Delver is going to have to flip, though.
Was that a lightning bolt drawn by Brian Knopp?
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
it might have been. White-bordered lightning bolt?
Why not, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Brian Knopp kept his cool this entire game, kept his composure, still, not letting anything get to him. Lots of players would get frustrated and be like, "Oh man, he had Wasteland Stifle. That's just unfair. How unlucky." But instead, he's just remain calm. And what can I do? And he's definitely thinking about it. And he decides to attack with the Goyf and the Flip Delver. I'm a little surprised that the Goyf gets in there. I don't know what his plan is.
Yeah, he may be trying to represent a forked bolt right here, trying to trade Tarmogoyfs with Jacob Wilson. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe he has a forked bolt. Maybe what you thought was a lightning bolt, maybe it was a forked bolt.
Might be. I thought it was red.
Okay, we'll find out in a second. And remember, these players know both players' deck lists. So Jacob knows that Brian Knopp does have that one copy of forked bolt in his deck. All right, looks like a double block is going on the Goyf. Now, if Brian has nothing, he might just take out the Nimble Mongoose. If he does have a bolt per se or a forked bolt, he's definitely going to assign all the damage to the Goyf and then go Goyf 1 damage, one of the Delvers another damage.
Right. So Brian Knopp, I don't think he really expected this double block. He's thinking on which one to kill now.
Yeah, he really is.
Which makes me lean towards Lightning Bolt as the card he drew.
Yeah, maybe. What is going on here? Jacob's going to fall down to 6 regardless. Goyf dies. Bolts the other Goyf.
I'm not sure I like this line from Brian Knopp. I might have just left my Goyf back. And,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's 2 bolts.
Does he have another? Oh, there's a Force of
Dead.
Will. Wow. Did Brian really have another bolt in hand?
He did. He had 2 bolts. I think he drew running bolts the last 2 turns. Really strange, but Jacob Wilson hits the instant to pull it out.
Yeah, that's crazy. We're not too sure exactly what his hand was, but if you're saying it was another bolt, then I think what Brian could have done was only attack with Delver, bolt you down to 3, bolt you down to 0, and that force would have never came to use. And maybe Brian could have stole game 1 from Jacob when it looked like Jacob had complete control of the game the whole way through the way he played it.
That's right, but Jacob played it pretty well. He ensured that game win. Yep. Brian Knopp, though, not out of it yet. He's going to be on the play for game 2. He's going to get access to his sideboard. 3 submerge, pretty cool.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
You know what? Before we talk about that, why don't we do trivia? Go ahead.
Okay, so we have 1 year of trivia, 1 year of premium we're giving away for this trivia question. Again, we have the Somerset Invitational coming up just in a couple of weeks. I'm really excited for it. First place, as we know, is the trophy, $10,000, a bunch of points, and something else that will probably make you slightly more famous.
More important than money to some people.
Yeah, because it is a really great honor.
Yeah, timeless.
So I want to know what that something else is. Again, $10,000, the Star City Games points, the trophy, and of course this one
other thing. And if you don't know, if you haven't been watching the stream all weekend, you haven't heard us talk about it, you can go find it on the Star City Games website. Go to the Invitational tab.
Yeah.
Look it up, see what it is.
Yeah. All right. So tweet at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium.
Right down there. Yeah.
All right. We're going to go back to the players just in a moment. There you see Jacob Wilson on the left. We have Brian Knopp on the right. Game 1 was a great game. So far, every match that I've seen pretty much from round 6 on have been so exciting. Even yesterday when we saw the Jun player mulligan to 4, but ended up winning. So it's just really, really crazy. Let's see how both players are going to sideboard here. Looks like Graft Digger's Cage, Zern Orb, Sulfur Elemental, Ancient Grudge, Flush Storm. You see it on the screen. Zach, is there anything that really stands out in the mirror match here? What do you think?
Well, just like I said about Brian Knopp's sideboard, Submerge is the main card. It's a backbreaker in this matchup. 0 mana. That's the key. The best cards in the Rug Delver mirror are the ones that cost the least amount of money. The least amount of mana. Submerge, so important. It just can put a Tarmogoyf on top in response to a fetch land, a Nimble Mongoose on top in response to a fetch land. Even if your opponent doesn't fetch, it's still such a good semi-time walk type card, the Submerge. Also good Red Elemental Blast slash Pyroblast. Jacob goes with the Pyroblast, Brian the Rebs, but they're both going to be key in fighting the brainstorms. You know, the brainstorms that are saying, okay, I really need a fetch land because you killed all my lands. Where is it?
Yep.
Go to find it.
All right. Now, the one thing I'm kind of surprised is that Jacob Wilson, he does have the Life from the Loam. Brian Knopp doesn't. Instead of Life from the Loam, he has that main deck Sylvan Library.
Right.
Would you rather have the Sylvan Library, or would you rather be the one with the Life from the Loam? What do you think and why?
I think I'd rather be the one with the Loam, just because the Sylvan Library is at its best when it's in your opening hand, and the Loam is at its best when drawn late game. So I think Rug Delver sees so many cards that more likely it's going to be drawn late game.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather be on the side of Life from the Loam. Again, I'm wondering, you know, when I talked to Jacob Wilson, he didn't really think Zern Orb was that good for this matchup. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he'll bring in the Miser Zern Orb. It could come in handy. I mean, look at every game. Every game is, you know, either a damage race of some sort after a huge attrition battle, and it could just come down to, hey, somebody's pretty low, but all of a sudden I have a Zern Orb, and I'm going to pull away with this game. I'm not going to have to worry about your Delver Seekers. I'm not going to have to worry about you top decking a Lightning Bolt.
Right, as you know, it's kind of paradoxical, because I think the Zern Orb is better in the pre-board games than the post-board games, just because all the red elemental blasts flying around means that if you have a Zern Orb and it is a liability, your Brainstorm is so much less likely to resolve post-sideboard, so you can't shuffle it away. I'm not sure. He expressed a distaste for the Zern Orb, but maybe he brought it in here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah. So there's Ruben Bressler and Nicholas Saban. They're watching the match. They're doing their coverage. The text coverage will be up on the Star City Games page pretty much right after the finals. It goes up pretty quick. Something for you guys to read tomorrow morning at work.
Yep, and behind Brian Knopp, you can see local heroes Chase Kovac and Adam Snook. I think they're playing a friendly game of Stack, watching, rooting for their buddy Brian.
All right, so Brian led off with the turn 1 Delver Seekers, and Jacob had a ponder, which he's thinking about, do I want to keep, do I want to shuffle, and yeah, he decides to keep, and then he'll just pass the turn to Brian. Brian's going to check with the Delver. It's a... Oh, wow, it's a red elemental blast.
Brian's been really good at flipping these Delvers, and that's a key you need when you're playing Rug Delver.
Yeah, and if you're going to flip that Delver, you want to flip with the red elemental blast.
Yeah, that's
very,
so
very
good.
Powerful spell right there. All right, so he'll draw that for the turn.
Oh,
There's
wow.
a Wasteland on the Volcanic Island.
Great draw from Brian.
Yeah, it really is. Delver flips Wasteland with the red elemental blast. I like Brian's position right now.
Exactly the position you want to be in. And this is when the Rug Delver deck is so unbeatable. When it's on the play, it flips its Delver, it has the mana denial. See, look, Brian Knopp passes with 1 open, and that's so scary. It can be Spell Pierce, it can be Stifle, it can be so many things. It can be Lightning Bolt.
Yep.
Jake Wilson is so far behind right here.
All right, so there's a Misty Rainforest. Now, do you think Brian is going to try to play around the Submerge? He's not going to play a Tropical Island if he doesn't need to. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's not going to fetch unless he absolutely has to.
Okay.
You know, if it's a question of missing a land drop and playing into Submerge, that's a trickier question.
Sure.
It's pretty hard to miss a land drop in this matchup.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. So Brian will swing in with this Delver. Jacob falls down to just 14 life already. Jacob has lots of options here. Instead, he just decides to draw.
Yeah, he has so many cards in hand. I'm not sure if he has another colored mana. No, he doesn't. Wow.
There's a Wasteland. Looks like he's going to target that Volcanic Island.
Yeah, and we'll see what Brian has to say about this. Maybe a Stifle?
Not sure exactly what he has here.
Brainstorm.
Okay, he's going to Brainstorm in response to that Wasteland. Jacob's going to sacrifice his Mr. Rainforest in response to that Brainstorm. So Wasteland's on the stack.
Right. So
Brainstorm's on the stack. And of course, Mr. Rainforest is on the stack.
Right. Jacob's basically saying, if you do have a Stifle, I'm going to make you pay for it. I'm going to make you use your fetch land before the Brainstorm resolves.
Sure.
But he's not going to do that. Brian Knopp gives Jacob's deck a good shuffle. And yep, there's the Pyro.
Pyroblast targeting
the Delver. Takes out the Delver.
Wow. Really back and forth, and a lot of plays going on here. All right, so again, Brian with a good start, Jacob on the back foot, but all of a sudden some nice plays, and Jacob's right back in it.
That's right, Brian Knopp now has no threat. He does have a goose and a goif in his hand, so he's going to look to deploy those as soon as he can.
There's Pyroblast on the screen. Counter target spell if it's blue, or destroy target permanent if it's blue. Now the reason why Pyroblast is better than a red elemental blast is that you're able to Pyroblast, say, a Tundra. Nothing will happen, but the Pyroblast will go into your graveyard, so you're able to have Threshold. With red elemental blast, you can't even target it, so if you had 6 cards and you had a Nimble Mongoose, it wouldn't really help you.
I see.
Yeah, so if you're wondering why some people, choose red elemental blast over Pyroblast, maybe they want to play around something like a meddling mage, but for the most part, you would rather have Pyroblast in your deck.
Yep,
or your sideboard.
It's not going to come up very often, but the one game it does, it's going to make you feel pretty silly for not buying those Pyroblasts for a couple quarters.
Yeah, you never know. All right, so here comes a Nimble Mongoose. Jacob's going to need a land right here, and instead it was just a Force of Will.
So Goose, 1-1 right now, but I think, oh wow, still just 1-1. And Brian Knopp really has no follow-up here, no cantrip, no Goose, nothing. He can't even cast a Reb.
All right, Jacob, I believe with 8 cards now in his hand, he's going to have to discard something.
Threshold achieved.
All right, so he's going to discard the Ponder. Brian will draw. Oh, it's a Brainstorm,
okay.
Exactly what he wants. He just wants Threshold. He doesn't even care if this Brainstorm resolves or not.
So, wow, he hits a
Scalding
Tarn.
Yeah, very, very important to hit that Scalding Tarn, and he does. So now Brian Knopp in very good shape. Jacob Wilson's going to need to draw running lands, and he's going to need to maneuver his way out of this.
Yep, 3 drops Jacob Wilson to 9, and Brian's going to fetch right away. He doesn't want any stifles to happen. He shuffles away the Sylvan, the Goif. He knows he doesn't need those. He just needs to ride this Nimble Mongoose to victory here.
Yeah, he really does. And there is a Volcanic Island. Now, yes, Brian does have a forest, but Jacob doesn't have an island for the Submerge, and his only creature is something that Jacob cannot target.
Right, so Submerge is really, really good in this matchup, the 0 mana, but oftentimes in Rug Delver, if it's not the Goist ruling the board, it's the Geese.
Yeah, exactly. So just pretty crazy in general here.
So Brian Knopp now has Pyroblast back up. He's in a great position this game. I think the judge has a question. Saw that hand off screen. Maybe it's a life total discrepancy. I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, sometimes life total discrepancies do happen, especially in Legacy, just because there's so many sack lanes, there's Thoughtseize, there's Force of Will. Sometimes players will just honestly miss one of them, so you always want to declare life totals every time they change.
Right. So Wasteland drawn for Jacob. That's not going to do anything. It'll rob Brian of some red mana. It looks like no upkeep Wasteland for Jacob.
It looks like Brian has drawn a Goif. Jacob will fall down to just 6 life here, and it's still not a land. Instead, it's a Flusterstorm. And Jacob probably just has one more turn, and even then it might be too late. Let's see what Brian has. Can he end the game right here? He does draw a Lightning Bolt. He's just going to Volt him. Is Jacob going to fight over this? He's going to have to. There's a Force of Will pitching a Daze.
Yep, and Brian Knopp wanted to end the game right here. He's going to have to wait one more turn. Jacob Wilson, what's he draw? Volcanic Island. Does it do anything? Don't think so.
We have a Delver, maybe to chump block for a turn. He's going to Ponder. Not really going to matter, I don't think. And Jacob's just going to scoop up his cards. Maybe Jacob was trying to get some more extra information there. Maybe he wants to know, does he still have Spell Pierce? Does he have Flusterstorm? How is he going to sideboard? It's just kind of irrelevant, but regardless, they're going to a Game 3. After this is the final game. Now what's going to happen is that Jacob Wilson or Brian Knopp is going to win. All right? It's not going to be a draw. Then either Jacob Wilson or Brian Knopp's going to come into the sideboard. He's going to be interviewed by Ruben Bressler, and he's going to come back to us. We're going to say, whoa, that was pretty amazing. And then somebody is going to win 1 year free premium for our question of, hey, when you guys go to the Star City Invitational in Somerset, New Jersey, first place is going to be $10,000. It's going to be multiple Star City Games open points. It's going to be the trophy. It's going to be some fame. It's also going to be one other unique thing that Star City will provide for you. and people might come up to you and say, hey man, do you think I can have your autograph? So we want to know what that one thing is. Again, you guys could see it on the screen, tweet at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium. If you guys want to join in the conversation, hashtag SCGMA, or of course, I'm GFabs5, and this is ZC Hill Hall on Twitter.
Close, very close.
I was thinking of Zach Hill.
And if you guys did need a hint for the question, because it's not that easy if you haven't been watching the stream all weekend, it might have something to do with Jerry Thompson. It might be an honor that only Jerry Thompson and a few select others have really gotten so far.
All right, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going on. All right, so Jacob Wilson will be on the play, and Brian Knopp on the draw. Both players played excellent so far. It's been a long day, but they really both kept their cool. Didn't really get too flustered. Brian Knopp might have, had a chance in game 1 if he took a different line, but hey, he's still going to game 3. He's still live. He might make it happen.
Yeah, they're playing for the trophy. They're playing for $2,400. They're playing for those extra Star City Open points, and it's all going to come down to this one game, the last game of the weekend.
Yeah, seriously. We'll see what happens. I'm really, really excited for this.
It seems like it's flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah, the top 8 game that we covered, that was just a great game. Jared ended up winning on 1 life. Just crazy. The top 4 with Eric Smith and Jacob Wilson, really back and forth, both real technical play on both sides. And then now even the finals here, you might think, oh, Rug Delver on Rug Delver, that's going to be super quick. It's not going to last that many turns. And that might be the case sometimes, but each play, each decision matters so much.
Yeah, that's right. And here we go. Here's the present. They're going to shuffle each other's decks, make sure sufficient randomization has occurred. There we go. And Brian Knopp going to be on the draw this game. His back's going to be to the wall a little bit. It's going to be on him to win on the draw, which is pretty tough in the rug mirror. Yeah,
both players wish each other good luck. Really good sportsmanship. That's what I like to see. When you come to the Opens, there's a lot of really, really good sports. Maybe we'll start giving out a sportsmanship prize. That'd be pretty cool. A couple of months free premium.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, why not?
So Jacob Wilson keeps his hand. He's on the play. Brian Knopp, though, he has to go to 6 cards, and that's not where he wants to be. On the draw with 6, he has an uphill battle.
The only problem is that if Reed Duke ever comes to one of these, he'll probably win the sportsmanship prize every time. So maybe we'll have a limit of, anybody can win except for Reed Duke.
Reed Duke can only win a maximum of 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times, Reed, sorry. All right, so there we see a mulligan from Brian Knopp. And, Jacob's just really calm. Of course he wants to win, but then again, he's probably really tired and just hoping, hey, maybe this mulligan will help me out a bit.
That's right. Now, Jacob Wilson kept really fast. I think he likes his hand a lot.
Yeah.
He probably has a few lands. Hopefully for him, a wasteland as the battle of the mana. As we've seen here, 0 lands for these players, multiple turns. The mana is what really matters a lot of times here.
Yeah, Brian doesn't look too happy with his hand, but I think he's going to keep.
Yeah, you hate to go out on a mull to 5 in the finals of a tournament, but sometimes it's what you have to do. I think he has a land-heavy hand. Is that what I see?
I think it might be a land light hand, to be honest.
Oh, those aren't dual lands. Those are red blasts, and I think maybe his only sources are wastelands. Only lands.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It might look like wasteland, forcible, red blast. Let's see. He's going to keep. All right, Scalding Tarn goes directly to the graveyard. He'll probably go get a volcanic island. We'll find out in a second.
Yep.
Nope, tropical island. That could only mean one of 2 things. Either a Delver, either a Noah Mongoose, either a Ponder. No, there it is, Noah Mongoose. All right.
The goose is loose.
Yeah.
Here it comes. It's a 1/1, but soon enough.
Ooh, a forcible pitching, a submerge, and you might think that's like pretty good for Brian, and it might not be that bad, but when you mulligan and then you force a will something, it's like you almost mulliganed again.
Right, Brian, especially with this no mana hand, he really cannot afford to let Jacob Wilson even get a single threat in play. He had to force a will that.
All right, and there's a wasteland on the tropical island, and he'll pass a turn. Jacob will draw for the turn, and looks like a lightning bolt maybe.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson only has 1 more land here. He's probably going to actually play this wasteland. No, okay,
no,
volcanic.
Yeah,
go.
He has volcanic and waste, so I think his line is fine, especially with days in hand.
All right, so Wasteland for Brian Knopp. He's going to try and deprive Jacob of all his colored mana sources, and I think it's going to work. Jacob's just thinking about lightning bolting right now.
Yeah, I think Brian Knopp might be out of lands as well.
He is, yeah. Brian Knopp has no more lands.
I think he might lightning bolt and then daze the lightning bolt. Yeah,
oh,
really,
look at that! To
really,
save that land.
Unique play for Jacob, and I do like it because Brian mulliganed down to 6, then forced and mulliganed again. So Jacob is still technically up on cards. So I think it's fine for him to make a play like that.
Yeah, really, he just had to protect his single land. He knows that without any land, that's how he lost game 2. He doesn't want that to happen again.
Exactly. Jacob ends up drawing another land though off the top with the Misty Rainforest.
Yep, Brian Knopp really going to need a land off the top. He has the Red Blast in his hand, but they don't do much without land. What's he got?
Just a Goyf. Not what he really wanted there. Oh, wow, and Jacob draws a Goyf. His best possible draw right there. That is just crazy. Oh, and there's a lightning bolt.
Wow.
Not going to help quite yet.
Brian Knopp choking on all these revised cards,
Oh,
but the
wow,
problem is
Wasteland
not the right
and
ones.
Another Goyf. Wow. So he had Goyf, drew a Goyf. Jacob really with a unique play that might have won him the game by bolting and then dazing his own bolt to play around the Wasteland.
Right. Brian Knopp, it's a land. Brian Knopp not out of it yet. Those Goyfs are out of bolt range.
Yeah,
but
they are.
Yeah, let's see what Brian Knopp has here. This will at least let him submerge and buy himself a little bit of time to deploy his own Tarmogoyf.
Does he have Submerge in hand? I don't even think he does.
No
I think
Submerge
he has
at all,
Bolt,
huh?
Pyroblast, and Delver, unless I'm missing something. Alright, he's going to sack that Scalding Tarn. He's going to get a Volcanic Island.
Okay, so Volcanic for Brian Knopp. He's on the back foot. He's at 15, facing down 6 power of Tarmogoyfs. As soon as a Ponder hits the yard, that's going to be 8 power of Tarmogoyfs. So he has to do something, and quick.
Yeah. Alright, let's see what Brian's line is, and it looks like it might be a Delver, and it is a Delver of Secrets. He passes to Jacob Wilson. Jacob will draw for his turn. I see a Misty Rainforest. I do see a Bolt. Oh, another Wasteland. Wow.
Wasteland takes out Brian Knopp's only land, leaving him still with a Wasteland in reserve, just in
case. The Goyfs come in. Brian Knopp is just at 9 life.
Yep,
Brian doesn't even want the Delver to flip here, because if it does, it means it's not a land. And even if he draws a land, he's going to have to go something like next turn, block one of your Goyfs, and then bolt it after combat. 2 for 1 himself again. To be fair, there's not much Brian could have done up to this point. He mulliganed, and he draws a Scalding Tarn.
It's a glimmer of hope for Brian Knopp. He can
gonna go down to 8 life. He'll pass the turn. Jacob draws. He swings it with both. I think Brian has to make this play here for him to really have a chance.
Yeah, just chump block, and then post-combat, or at the end of Jacob's turn, lightning bolt that Tarmogoyf. That's all he can do here.
Yeah. So we'll
wow.
see how this plays out.
Takes the damage.
And Jacob Wilson is holding on to a lightning bolt, I believe. Alright, there's a Ponder. And Jacob can just sit on this lightning bolt for as long as he wants. And he just wants to make sure he could play around Force of Will. I mean, next turn he'll just bash him with the Goyfs, and then if Brian doesn't have an answer,
right.
that's pretty much, there's a bolt.
In response, there it is.
All right, wow! Congratulations to Jacob Wilson. He played excellent all day. Seriously, started 7-0, started 14-0. But also congrats to Brian Knopp. I mean, Brian made it to the finals.